In front of a waiting media pack, the former First Minister appeared at Holyrood today. Nicola Sturgeon fielded a range of questions about the SNP's plight and the ongoing police investigation into the party's finances. Here's some of what she had to say.
I think fair to say this is not the easiest time. I'm not saying that for sympathy, it is what it is. But I'm determined to get on with the job that I am doing. I'm working from home, have been working from home. You've all got colleagues outside my house, so you probably know that. I've been in my constituency. It's good to be back here in Parliament, and I'm going to get on with representing my constituents.
Have you been questioned by the police yet?
No.
Do you expect to be questioned
As a
by
matter,
the police?
I'm not going to get into any aspect of the police investigation.
Have you ever had a burner phone? Have you ever had a burner phone?
No.
What is going on, First Minister? A lot of your supporters really want to know what is really happening at the moment.
Look, one of the frustrating things just now, and I'm not complaining about this, I understand the process that is underway, but one of the frustrating aspects of that is that I'm not able to give my version of what is going on just now. Hopefully the time will come when I can do that. So I appreciate the concern, I appreciate the frustration, but that is the nature of the process that is underway right now.
Do you owe Humza Yousaf an apology for the state you've handed the party to him in?
I think Humza's doing, in very, very difficult circumstances, an outstanding job. I have become ever more convinced, and I was already convinced of this, that he's going to be a very fine First Minister. I understand the view that some people might have, that I knew this was all about to unfold and that's why I walked away. Nothing could be further from the truth. I could not have anticipated in my worst nightmares what would have unfolded over the past few weeks. I believe the SNP, notwithstanding the real difficulties that surrounds the party just now, is in good shape, and I think Humza will take it to even better things.
But are you saying you didn't know the state of the party you were handing on as leader?
Look, the party that I led for 8 years was successful beyond precedence in Scottish politics.
But that's not the party you've handed on to Humza Yousaf, is it?
I believe the SNP, as you know, we will see in times to come, is a successful party. All parties after 16 years in government will have issues that it needs to confront. I'm not talking about the specific issues that we're talking about right now, and the SNP will renew as it has done in the past. On the issue of the auditors, and again, I fully appreciate that people, and I don't think this is surprising, or people are seeing that through the prism of what has happened over the past few weeks. But the auditors stepped down from representing the SNP as part, not because of the police investigation, but as part of a review of their own business. And a process was underway to appoint new auditors. Look, the last few weeks have been very, very difficult, and I don't think anybody would believe me if I said anything other than that. I've had, many difficult periods in a political career that has lasted over several decades now. I think you can safely say that the last few weeks have been amongst the most difficult. But it is what it is, and I accept that. I accept the process.
You sound very emotional. How has this made you all feel?
It's been. I don't really want to get into this because this is not an opportunity for me to say, poor me for this. This is a serious process. Obviously serious issues are being looked at, and I respect and will continue to respect that process every step of the way. But clearly the events of the last few weeks have been difficult, and I use this word advisedly and deliberately, in some respects very traumatic, but I accept that is the nature of the process that is underway right now.
Did anyone in Police Scotland give you advance notice that there would be a knock at the door, that the investigation was heading for your address?
No.
We reflected on Nicola Sturgeon's Holyrood appearance with one of the journalists who heard directly what she had to say, Rachel Watson, who is the political editor of the Scottish Sun. Rachel, you were there today for the former First Minister's appearance in front of the media. What was the reaction like?
I think people were quite shocked that Nicola Sturgeon had turned up to Parliament today. A lot of us have been asking the SNP when she would likely return to Holyrood. Would it be before the summer recess? Because of this crisis engulfing the party at the moment, and questions and speculation around whether she will talk to the police as well as her husband and Colin Beattie. So I think there was a lot of shock from journalists. We were told an SNP press officer just came up and said that she would be downstairs in a few minutes. So I think, yes, we all had so many questions put to her and we were very eager to speak to her, but we didn't think the opportunity might arise as quickly as it did.
And what did you make of what she had to say?
I think what Nicola Sturgeon had to say is, she got her points across. She used some buzzwords in there and words that you will see across the headlines and front pages tomorrow around how the experience of the last few weeks has impacted her. So she spoke about, never being able to anticipate this in her worst nightmares. She said that the last few weeks had been traumatic for her, but didn't really give any answers to the big questions around the police investigations. She said she didn't want to talk about those just yet. So she was asked questions, for example, on the motorhome and the other areas such as burner phones that have been brought up in papers recently. And she said she wouldn't touch on those at the moment because of the police investigation, but she would want to answer questions when she does get the opportunity to do so and wants to set out her side of this, which I found interesting. But actually, we didn't learn that much from Nicola Sturgeon today.
Why do you think she did come today? You were saying we didn't quite know when to expect it. Why today, do you think?
I think she turned up today because she knew that whenever she returns to Parliament, these questions would be hanging there. Her first day back in the building was obviously going to see journalists try and speak to her. So this was a way to try and control the situation, to come up and be upfront about it, speak to journalists, give us some time to ask questions, and then try and come back to Holyrood and go about her daily business and try and get on with being a backbencher and everything that will include over the next couple of years for her.
And what did you make of her actual appearance? It was maybe not quite the confident Nicola Sturgeon we're accustomed to.
Yeah, I've done so many of these kind of huddle situations with Nicola Sturgeon at Holyrood. This was one of the first where she wasn't First Minister anymore, and it really was a kind of different experience. She wasn't as confident or self-assured as you would usually expect from her when she had been First Minister. It was obvious that this has been a really difficult time for her, and if you listen to the clips and you look at her body language as well, you can really tell that it has taken its toll. And I said earlier, she spoke about how traumatic this had been, and I think it has been quite emotional for her personally and professionally, and that was really apparent in the way she spoke and the way she came over. And there were at points where you almost felt that her voice was kind of cracking a little bit. It was breaking as she spoke about this being the worst nightmare, worse than any nightmare she could have anticipated.
And how were the media towards her? Was it kind of aggressive, or was it? We saw quite a bit of the interview there, but was it aggressive? Was it? How would you describe the approach? No,
I think the way that the huddle went was the way that all these things do when you are trying to get questions to the First Minister. I think people were there because they had questions. There was a bit of a flurry where people kind of talk over each other, but these things happen in them because it's not, you don't designate who asks the next question. It's just about getting in there. So I think, we've done so many of these with Nicola Sturgeon. She knows all the journalists and how they operate and where to expect questions to come from. So it really was a situation where, we've done these countless times, particularly over the last few months at Holyrood. And she's well used to that, and we're kind of used to that situation. But today, with her not being First Minister and also the situation that the party is in, that kind of gave a different kind of tone that came from Nicola Sturgeon, I think.
Rachel, thank you for joining us in Scotland Tonight.